The unfolding lotus of now. Welcome, traveler, to the quiet path. Let us acknowledge the weight you carry. The shoulders often hold the tension of yesterday's burdens, and the mind strains forward, already mapping the worries of tomorrow. But the way to peace is not a journey outward, nor is it found. The world outside the window has dimmed, trading the sharp edges of daylight for the soft, blurred contours of twilight. Here, in this quiet space, there is nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to chase. We let go of the day as a boat releases its mooring lines, drifting gently into the vast, calm harbor of the night. Feel the surface beneath you, solid and accepting. This moment is not about effort, but about ease. The wisdom we seek is not hidden in distant monasteries or ancient texts. It resides in the simple, steady rhythm of your own breath. We are merely turning our attention inward, seeking the stillness that has always waited patiently beneath the surface of the rushing stream. Allow the silence to enter, like a gentle rain washing away the dust of the day. The first breath, releasing the grip. The mind, when untended, often behaves like a monkey leaping from branch to branch, a flurry of motion, a rush of sound, a constant, urgent need to grasp the next thing. Notice this energy now, this residual tremor of the day. It is not a flaw, it is simply energy in motion. Feel the slight, insistent hum behind the forehead, the faint replay of conversations, the planning for tomorrow, or the dwelling on yesterday. These thoughts arrive uninvited, yet they demand our attention, tugging at the sleeve of our awareness like impatient children. Do not try to silence this inner noise. To fight the thoughts is merely to give them more strength, like wrestling with smoke. Instead, we acknowledge them with a gentle nod, offering them a place to sit, but refusing to hand over the reins of the carriage. We are the host in this quiet house of awareness, and the thoughts are merely temporary guests passing through the open door. They may whisper loudly, they may gesture wildly, but they cannot stay unless we offer them a bed and a meal. For now, we simply observe the parade. Feel the subtle tension that accompanies this mental activity. It settles first in the high, delicate muscles of the face. Notice the forehead, perhaps furrowed slightly, holding the weight of consideration. Let the skin there become smooth, like the surface of still water, reflecting a cloudless sky. Feel the space between the eyebrows widening, loosening its grip on concentration. Allow the eyelids to grow heavy, weighted perhaps by the exhaustion of constant looking. They drop now, gently, like velvet curtains closing on a stage that needs rest. The tension often descends next to the jaw. This is where we hold the words left unsaid, the arguments we rehearsed, the control we tried to exert. Feel the teeth perhaps clenching, muscles near the hinges of the jaw tight and rigid. With a soft, deliberate sigh, let the jaw slacken. Imagine it unhinging slightly, allowing the tongue to rest heavily in the floor of the mouth. The weight of the world does not need to be borne by the delicate structure of your teeth. Let the jaw release its vigilance. Let the face rest entirely. Now, turn your attention fully to the physical anchor that is always present, always steady, always here. The breath. This is the oldest rhythm you know, the most reliable friend. It asks nothing of you, only that you notice its presence. We will begin by following its path, slow and deliberate, tracing the journey of the air from the world outside to the quiet center within. We begin the first intentional breath. As you inhale, feel the air entering through the nostrils. Do not rush this intake. It is not a gasp, but a slow, reverent drawing in. Notice the temperature of the air, perhaps slightly cooler than the warmth of your skin, a delicate, refreshing sensation against the moist lining of the nasal passages. Follow this coolness as it travels inward, down the throat, smooth and unimpeded. We count slowly to 4 as the breath deepens. 1. The air fills the upper chest, lifting the collarbones just perceptibly. 2. It expands the ribcage, pushing gently against the sides of the body. Feel the slight stretch of the intercostal muscles, the subtle expansion of your whole structure. 3. The diaphragm descends, pushing down slightly on the organs beneath, allowing the belly to soften and rise like a gentle hill under the pressure of the incoming tide. 4. The breath reaches its natural fullness. There is a moment of profound, quiet stillness at the apex. A brief, soft pause where motion ceases entirely. Hold this moment of fullness, not with strain, but with acceptance. It is a tiny, perfect silence. Now, we begin the release. We will exhale slowly, deliberately, counting to 6, allowing the release to be longer than the intake, signaling to the body that it is safe to surrender. As you exhale, feel the breath leaving the body. It is no longer cool, but warm, carrying with it the subtle heat and pressure of the internal landscape. Follow this warmth as it flows back up the throat, past the tongue, and out through the nostrils or the slightly parted lips. 1. The belly softens and draws inward, like a balloon deflating slowly, effortlessly. 2. The ribcage contracts, settling back toward the spine. Feel the weight of the chest sinking, yielding to gravity. 3. The shoulders, which may have imperceptibly crept toward the ears, now drop further, releasing their long-held burden. 4. The warmth of the outgoing air brushes against the upper lip, a soft, almost imperceptible whisper of departure. 5. The breath continues to empty, emptying past the point of necessity, seeking true emptiness. 6. The lungs are gently emptied. There is a deep, satisfying sense of completion. 4. This next cycle, we will focus entirely on the sensation of weight. Imagine that every single muscle fiber, every tendon, every cell holds a tiny particle of lead. With each outbreath, we release the grip on this weight, allowing it to sink, sink, sink toward the earth. Inhale deeply, drawing in only lightness, only ease. Feel the air as buoyant, lifting and expanding the container of the chest. The body feels expansive, floating on the incoming air. And exhale. 6 counts of release. Feel the shoulder blades spreading wide, melting down your back. Notice the arms growing heavy, the elbows sinking deeply into the surface beneath them. The hands, often curled or tense, unfurl and soften. Feel the weight of the palms, the individual pressure points of the fingertips. They are resting now, having completed their work for the day. They have no need to grasp, to hold, or to control. This movement of the breath is the essential teaching. It is the perfect illustration of non-attachment. The air comes, stays for a moment, and then leaves entirely, without regret or resistance, only to return again. This continuous cycle is the present moment in its purest form. If the mind begins to rush ahead, planning the 10th breath when you are only on the 2nd, gently remind it, only this breath, only this count. Let us observe the internal landscape again. The thoughts are still arriving, perhaps with less urgency now, but they are there. A memory flashes, a worry presents itself, a fragment of music plays softly in the background. Imagine your awareness as a vast, clear sky. The thoughts are merely clouds passing through. They are not the sky itself. They do not alter the sky. They are temporary phenomena, beautiful or dark, but utterly transient. In the tradition of the Zen masters, it is said that the greatest obstacle to peace is mistaking the guest for the host. When a thought arrives, say, a worry about a future event, we often immediately give it the key to the house, allowing it to rearrange the furniture, light a fire, and demand attention. We become the servant of the worry, but tonight we remember who is truly the host. The host is awareness, the spacious, quiet presence that observes everything without needing to participate in the drama. A thought arrives. I should have sent that email. The host observes, ah, a thought about an email. It has arrived. The thought is not you. The thought is not reality. It is a tiny, flickering projection on the vast screen of your mind. Do not engage in conversation with it. Do not offer it tea. Simply watch it drift past, like a small boat disappearing over the horizon. Return to the physical sensation of gravity. Feel the immense, soothing pull of the earth beneath you. The body is heavy, substantial, rooted. Notice the contact points. Where does your body meet the surface upon which you rest? Feel the texture, the firmness, the complete support offered without condition. The earth does not judge your tension. It merely accepts your weight. Feel the calves and the ankles. Often we hold a subtle, ready-to-move energy here, a restlessness that lingers even when we are still. Let the muscles soften completely. Feel the bones within the legs settling, growing heavy. Feel the feet. They have carried you through the day, absorbing impact, maintaining balance. Now they are permitted to be utterly, completely still. Feel the weight of the heels, the quiet, inert presence of the toes. Imagine the tension draining out through the soles of the feet, sinking down into the supportive ground beneath. Every lingering worry, every minute point of tension flows out and away. We take another deep, anchoring breath. This one is dedicated entirely to releasing sound. Inhale, gathering any lingering frustration, any tightness caught in the throat or the chest. Draw it all in, holding it gently at the peak of the breath. And now, exhale, with a soft, audible sound. A gentle sigh, a quiet, sustained hum. Let the sound carry the tension away. Ha. Let the sound trail off into silence, a long, fading note that dissolves into the quiet atmosphere of the room. The silence that follows is not the absence of sound, but the presence of peace. Listen closely to the distant silence. It is often filled with tiny, beautiful sounds. The soft settling of the house, the faint, far-off whisper of the wind, the almost inaudible rhythm of your own heart, beating steadily in the deep quiet of your chest. These sounds do not disturb the stillness, they define it. They are like small stones dropped into a vast, still pool. They create temporary ripples, but the depth of the water remains undisturbed. We return to the breath, adopting the rhythm that is most soothing, most natural now. We will count the cycles again, but this time the counting is purely internal, a gentle focusing tool, not a rigid demand. Inhale, 4 slow counts. Feel the expansion, the intake of calm. Exhale, 6 slow counts. Feel the release, the sinking into ease. Continue this slow, deliberate rhythm. Allow the breath to become the sole object of your awareness. The world outside has receded. The demands of the day have faded. There is only the rise and the fall, the coming and the going. As you focus on the texture of the breath, notice the subtle shift in your internal environment. The mental chatter has begun to slow. The urgent voices have become distant murmurs. The rapid currents of thought are slowing down, turning into a gentle, winding river. This is the transition from anxiety to stillness. It is not achieved through effort, but through surrender. You are not doing anything. You are merely allowing the body to rest, allowing the mind to observe. Imagine yourself sitting beneath a vast, ancient Bodhi tree, its roots reaching deep into the earth, its leaves whispering secrets of patience and permanence. The air around you is cool and fragrant. You are safe here. You are completely supported. With the next few breaths, we will intentionally release the grip of control, which is the root of much tension. We often try to control the breath, making it deeper or slower than it naturally wishes to be. Let go of this need. Let the breath breathe itself. Inhale. Do not force the air in. Merely observe the process of intake. Exhale. Do not push the air out. Merely allow the body to empty naturally. Feel the subtle, beautiful movements of the abdominal wall. The stomach rises, the stomach falls. It is the gentle, steady rocking of a boat anchored safely in the harbor. This movement is life itself, uncomplicated, reliable, and perfectly present. The weight of your eyelids increases. Feel the soft pressure where the upper lid meets the lower. The muscles around the eyes are relaxing, sinking inward, away from the surface. The gaze turns inward, no longer seeking external stimulation, but resting in the dark, warm, interior space. If a thought of the past or the future tries to pull you away, simply bring your awareness back to the sensation of the air touching the inside of your nostrils. This small, specific sensation is your home base. It is the gateway to the present moment. Inhale, feeling the cool touch. Exhale, feeling the warm release. Allow the muscles of the chest to soften fully. We often hold emotional stress here, a tightness around the heart, a brace against vulnerability. With the next deep exhale, imagine that area becoming soft, porous, open. Release the armor. There is nothing to defend against in this moment of quiet rest. The silence deepens now. The distinction between the outside world and your inner world begins to blur. You are simply a resting presence, a point of stillness in the vast, continuous flow of time. Let the counting dissolve entirely. You do not need numbers to hold the rhythm. The breath will carry you now, steady and true, like the tide that never forgets to turn. Sink deeper into the support beneath you. Feel the heavy, luxurious weight of your body. You are not required to hold yourself up. You are not required to be alert. You are only required to rest. We have acknowledged the chatter. We have anchored the body, and we have begun the deep surrender. The grip has been released. The first step toward profound stillness is complete. Allow the gentle current of the breath to carry you forward, effortlessly, into the deepening quiet. The empty cup and the gentle rain. The breath settles, a slow tide pulling away from the shore. The echoes of the day, those sharp, brittle fragments of conversation and urgency, do not vanish instantly, but they begin to recede, held at bay by the quiet persistence of the inhale and the gentle resignation of the exhale. We sit now in the space created by the first chapter, a newly swept floor, ready to receive the next lesson. Feel the residual tension in the shoulders, perhaps the slight tightness behind the eyes. Do not judge this tension. Simply recognize it as the lingering shadow of a mind that believes it must always be full, always active. The path to stillness is often blocked not by external obstacles, but by the overflowing contents of our own minds. We arrive at the moment of rest, carrying the weight of unfinished tasks, future anxieties, and past regrets, all swirling together in a turbulent internal sea. To invite true peace, we must first learn the essential art of emptying. Imagine a simple, smooth clay teacup held lightly between your palms. This cup is your consciousness, and within it reside all the day's thoughts, emotions, and judgments. It is brimming, filled to the very lip with the tea of experience. If we try to pour anything new into a cup that is already full, the fresh offering merely spills over the sides, wasted, creating a mess without nourishing the vessel. This brings us to the ancient Zen teaching of the empty cup. A scholar, earnest and eager, once traveled a great distance to seek instruction from a revered Zen master. The scholar was brilliant, having spent decades compiling knowledge, debating philosophy, and memorizing scriptures. He arrived, bowed deeply, and began to speak immediately, detailing his extensive learning, his theories on enlightenment, and the subtle flaws he perceived in various schools of thought. The master listened patiently, offering the scholar a cup of tea. As the scholar continued his incessant monologue, his mind clearly overflowing with his own importance and knowledge, the master began to pour the steaming tea into the scholar's cup. The scholar talked on, oblivious, until the tea reached the brim. Still, the master poured. The dark liquid rose over the ceramic edge, spilling onto the saucer, running across the table, and dripping onto the floor. Finally, the scholar stopped speaking, startled by the heat and the mess. "Master," he exclaimed, pulling his hands away, "it is full. You cannot pour any more into it." The master calmly set down the teapot. His voice was as quiet as the steam rising from the spilled tea. "Just so," he said. "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup? Let this image settle into your awareness. Your mind, right now, may be that overflowing cup. Before we can welcome the deep, restorative peace we seek, we must consciously and gently begin to pour out the excess. How do we empty the cup of the mind? Not through force, not through struggle, but through observation and release. Take a deep, slow breath, pulling the air down into the lowest part of your lungs. As you exhale, imagine the steam of unnecessary thought rising away from the cup. We are not trying to stop thinking. That is a struggle that only fills the cup faster. Instead, we are acknowledging that the thoughts are merely the steam, the fleeting residue of the mind's engine running. They do not need your attention. They do not require your attention. The worries about tomorrow, let them spill over the edge. They are not needed tonight. The review of today's minor failures, let them drip away. They are already history. The judgments you hold about yourself or others, these heavy sediments at the bottom of the cup, allow them to dissolve into the silence. Feel the lightness that comes with this internal relinquishing. The space within the skull begins to widen. The pressure behind the eyes begins to ease. The mind is not empty yet, but it is no longer stubbornly brimming. It has room to breathe. It has room to receive the quiet comfort of the present moment. As the internal space opens, a new sound begins to assert itself. Subtle at first, a whisper against the window pane. It is the sound of the gentle, persistent rain. Listen for the first indication of its presence. Perhaps it is a slight deepening of the outside silence, or a soft, rhythmic tick-tick against the glass, almost missed amidst the recent internal din. This is not a storm, not a sudden downpour of violence, but a steady, measured rainfall. A perfect, hypnotic rhythm designed to anchor the newly cleared mind. We turn our attention fully now to this sound, allowing it to become the sole content of our slightly emptied cup. Imagine this rain falling onto a traditional Japanese moss garden. The garden is perfectly composed, a carpet of rich, emerald velvet stretching out from the eaves. The air is cool and clean, saturated with the scent of damp earth and ancient stone. The rain begins its work. It does not rush. Each drop is distinct, yet each contributes to a seamless, enveloping soundscape. Hear the pft as the drop meets the fibrous, dense surface of the moss. This is not the sharp, metallic sound of rain on pavement or the aggressive drumming on a tin roof. This is a soft, cushioned absorption. Focus on the rhythm. Drop. A pause, measured and precise. Drop. Another pause. Drop. The sound is utterly repetitive, yet never monotonous, because your awareness is constantly refreshed by the silence between the drops. It is the sound of time itself being measured out in liquid increments. Let your breathing synchronize with the sound of the falling water. The inhale is the momentary suspension of the drop in the air. The exhale is the gentle impact upon the earth. Inhale, suspension. Exhale, release. Observe the moss itself. It is already a deep, vibrant green, but as the rain continues, the color intensifies, becoming richer, darker, almost black in its saturation. The tiny, velvety surfaces drink deeply, expanding slightly, glistening under the veil of the continuous moisture. The entire landscape is being washed, purified, settled. This rain is a patient teacher. It demonstrates the power of persistence without aggression. It shows the beauty of repetition without boredom. Allow the sound to draw you deeper inward. The external world, which was already receding, is now being muffled and softened by this liquid curtain. The boundaries of the room begin to blur, replaced by the encompassing sound of the steady fall. There is a particular comfort in this steady, unwavering sound. It suggests that the world continues its cycle, regardless of our worries. The rain falls whether we are anxious or calm, whether we are productive or resting. It simply is. Let the rhythm of the drops become a hypnotic pulse against the quiet background of your mind. Tick. A drop hits a broad, flat stone. The sound is slightly sharper, a clean, resonant chime. Hush. A drop lands on the crowded needles of a low-hanging pine branch, scattering into a fine mist. Swoosh. The collective sound of water running off the eaves in a smooth, continuous sheet, a liquid sigh. But always, the dominant sound is the gentle, steady absorption into the moss garden. We use this sound as an anchor, a way to keep the mind from filling back up with yesterday's residue. Every time a thought tries to float into the newly emptied cup, a memory, a plan, an image, gently redirect your attention back to the rain. Imagine the thought as a small, dry leaf floating toward the cup. Before it lands, the sound of the rain washes it away, dissolving it into the atmosphere. The mind is not resisting, it is simply listening. And in the act of pure listening, there is no room for argument or analysis. There is only presence. The rain has been falling for a long time now, perhaps for hours in the timeless space of this quiet room. The air is cool and heavy with moisture. The scent of the earth rises subtly, a profound grounding aroma of wet soil and growing things. The repetition is key. The human mind, especially when seeking rest, craves patterns. It seeks predictability to feel safe enough to let go. The steady, unwavering tempo of the rain provides this perfect, monotonous safety. It is a lullaby crafted by nature itself. Focus on the subtle variations within the pattern. Some drops are heavier, creating a deeper, more resonant thump. Others are so light they are merely a whisper of dampness. Yet they all belong to the same grand, continuous composition. Let your body respond to this rhythm. The muscles that were taut and vigilant begin to soften, yielding to the persistent, gentle pressure of the sound. The jaw relaxes, the tongue rests gently on the floor of the mouth, and the shoulders sink away from the ears. We are sinking deeper into the cushion of the present moment, held securely by the sound of the rain. The cup is now largely empty, waiting, receptive. Feel the profound stillness that lies beneath the sound. The rain is movement, but its predictability creates an internal stillness, a sense that nothing needs to change, nothing needs to be done. Imagine the water droplets collecting on the tiny, delicate hairs of the moss. They gather, growing heavier and rounder, until they reach a critical mass and then slide down, absorbed into the root system below. This is the process of letting go of your own accumulated emotional burdens. They collect, they reach their peak, and then they are released, drawn down into the earth to nourish the stillness. There is no need to hold on to the weight of the day. The rain is washing it all away. If your mind drifts, if you suddenly realize you have been thinking about a meeting or a shopping list or a distant memory, do not chastise yourself. This is the nature of the active mind. Simply acknowledge the thought, treat it as a curious bubble that has popped, and return your full, soft attention to the sound of the rain falling on the moss. Return to the green, velvety texture. Imagine the cool, fresh air filling your lungs. Inhale the cleanness. Exhale the residual dust of the day. The sound is now seamless, a continuous murmur, a deep, resonant white noise that blankets all other distractions. It is the sound of the world being renewed, purified, and settled into profound rest. Allow the rhythm to slow your internal clock. The pace of the day, which felt so frantic and demanding, is now meaningless. There is only the rain and the breath. The emptiness of the cup is not a void, but a space of potential. It is the fertile soil ready for the seeds of deep rest. We are no longer resisting the quiet. We are embracing it fully. The rain continues its steady, rhythmic fall, a perfect metronome for the transition into deeper relaxation. Each drop is a promise of renewal, a reminder that every moment offers a chance to start fresh, washed clean of the past. Rest in this sound. Let it be the final shield against the anxieties that try to cling to the edges of your awareness. The rain is here, steady and true. The cup is empty. The mind is quiet. Sink deeper now, allowing the hypnotic repetition of the water to pull you down into a state of profound, unwavering calm. The earth is drinking, and so are you, drinking in the quiet peace of the present moment. Let go. Listen. Rest. The gentle rain falls, and you are held within its quiet embrace. Walking without destination. The forest breathes in silence, a vast green lung drawing the cool morning mist deep into its fibers. You stand at the edge of a path, not a worn road of human intention, but a soft, winding trail, surrendered to the gentle erosion of time and falling leaves. Here, the world is muted, held in the deep, resonant hush that only ancient trees can create. The air itself possesses a texture, cool and moist against the skin of your face, carrying the complex, earthy perfume of decay and renewal. It is the scent of deep soil, rich with the history of seasons past, overlaid with the sharp, clean fragrance of pine resin, baked by yesterday's sun and now released by the morning dampness. Close your eyes and inhale, letting the cold oxygen fill the lowest chambers of your lungs, noticing the subtle, almost imperceptible tension in the shoulders beginning to soften as the breath deepens and slows. There is no destination. There is no urgency. There is only the first step. The light is not a flood, but a delicate, measured distribution of golden dust. Above, the canopy is a dense, interlocking vault of cedar and fir, filtering the sun into shimmering, moving mosaics on the forest floor. These patches of light are not static. They shift with the slightest breeze, trembling and reforming like liquid gold poured over the brown and green canvas of the path. Observe how a single shaft of light, piercing the dense needles, illuminates a billion suspended particles, dust motes dancing in a slow, celestial ballet, existing only for the moment they catch the sun before dissolving back into the shadow. Now, bring your attention down, grounding it entirely into the soles of your feet. Feel the solid, flat plane of the earth beneath you, supporting your entire weight without effort or complaint. This earth is the foundation of the present moment. We begin the walk. The intention is not to move forward, but simply to lift the left foot. Observe the sequence of release. The heel detaches first, slowly, the weight shifting entirely to the right foot. Notice the subtle internal adjustments your muscles make to maintain balance, a slight tightening in the core, a minor flex in the knee. There is no rush in this transition. The left foot rises just inches above the ground, suspended for a moment in the cool air, a silent pendulum tracing a slow arc forward. As the left foot descends, approach the earth with reverence. The contact is slow, deliberate. The ball of the foot touches first, meeting the forest floor. The texture is immediate and complex. Beneath the soft, thin skin of your sole, you register the yielding cushion of last autumn's needles, dry, brittle, yet compressed into a soft mat. There is a slight, satisfying compression, a low, muffled shush sound that only you can hear, absorbed almost instantly by the surrounding silence. Roll the foot forward, allowing the weight to transfer from the ball to the arch, and finally, settling heavily onto the heel. Feel the full, flat pressure of the earth against the entire surface of your foot. Within this contact, you perceive the granular reality of the path, the firmness of the underlying soil, the slight protrusion of a small, smooth pebble pressing gently into the fleshy part of the arch, the damp, cool cling of a patch of moss beneath the toes. This single, complete placement of the left foot, this is the present moment, fully realized. There is no past step, no future step, only the deep, grounded sensation of the earth supporting this specific point in space and time. Now, shift the focus to the right foot. As the weight settles completely onto the left, the right heel begins its slow ascent. Feel the muscles of the calf stretch and then relax as the right foot lifts, releasing its connection to the earth. For a brief instant, the body is suspended entirely over the stable, present foundation of the left foot. The right foot moves forward, tracing the same slow, measured arc. It is a mirror image, yet the ground beneath it is subtly different. The right foot descends, seeking the earth. This time, the ball of the foot finds a small cluster of decomposing oak leaves. The contact is softer, more yielding. The leaves are papery and wet, collapsing into a silent mulch beneath the pressure. As the weight transfers, notice the scent released, a fleeting puff of sweet, damp decay, the smell of earthworms and cool, dark shadow. The heel settles. This patch of earth is slightly softer than the last, perhaps closer to a hidden spring or a pocket of richer loam. The foot sinks just a millimeter deeper, a sensation of being gently held, embraced by the path. Synchronize this slow, deliberate movement with your breath. As the foot lifts, gently inhale. As the foot descends and settles, slowly exhale. The walk is not separate from the breath. It is the physical manifestation of the breath's rhythm. Inhale, suspension. Exhale, contact and grounding. Continue this simple rhythm. Left foot lifts, inhale. Left foot settles, exhale. Right foot lifts, inhale. Right foot settles, exhale. Do not strive for perfection in the movement. Do not judge the awkwardness or the speed. The practice is simply to be with the sensation of the foot touching the ground. If the mind drifts, if it begins to plan the next hour or worry about a conversation from yesterday, gently, without judgment, bring it back to the sole of the foot. Bring it back to the pressure. Bring it back to the earth. Focus now on the sound of the walk. It is not the loud, disruptive sound of hurried human movement, but a series of small, intimate whispers between the leather and the loam. Listen closely. There is the dry tap of a small twig snapping cleanly beneath the arch. There is the low, sustained hiss as the sole brushes across a patch of dry pine needles. There is the dull, cushioned thud when the heel lands on a bed of thick, damp moss. Each sound is unique, fleeting, and perfect in its moment. They are the small, momentary signatures of the present, dissolving into the silence the instant they are born. The path continues to unfold, presenting new textures with every step. The left foot finds a patch where the earth is visibly redder, rich with iron. The sensation is firm, almost stony. The soul registers a subtle, gritty resistance, the feeling of fine sand embedded in compacted clay. The pressure is distributed evenly, a solid, unwavering connection. As you step, observe the intricate dance of the forest floor. A small beetle, iridescent black, scrambles rapidly out of the path of your approaching heel. A patch of vibrant green clover, dusted with morning dew, is gently pressed down, only to spring back up in the wake of your passage. You are moving through a living tapestry, and your presence is acknowledged by every minute detail. The right foot now encounters the cool, slick surface of a flat grey stone, half buried in the soil. The sensation changes entirely. The stone offers no yield, no compression. It is cold and hard against the warmth of the foot. The movement requires a slight, unconscious adjustment for balance, a moment of heightened awareness to prevent slipping. This unexpected hardness forces the mind to sharpen, to be fully present to the reality of the ground. Accept the stone. Accept the moss. Accept the soft patch of mud that momentarily clings to the side of the heel, carrying a richer, wetter scent. All of it is the path. All of it is the present. The walk continues without destination, without purpose beyond the act of walking itself. This non-striving is the heart of the meditation. If you walk only to reach the end of the forest, you miss the forest itself. If you walk only to achieve stillness, you miss the stillness that is already here, embedded in the rhythm of your steps and your breath. Imagine the mind as a vast, clear pool of water. When you hurry, when you strive, you stir the water, creating ripples and turbidity. The surface reflects only distortion. But when you walk like this, slowly, deliberately, step by step, the agitation subsides. The thoughts, the ripples, still arise, but they pass quickly, leaving the surface clear once more. Return to the sensory details of the skin. The air now feels warmer as the sun begins to climb higher. The shafts of light are thicker, more golden, piercing the canopy to land in defined pools on the path ahead. When your foot passes through one of these pools of light, you feel a momentary, localized warmth on the skin of your ankle, a fleeting sensation of heat against the surrounding coolness. The left foot lifts. Inhale. As it moves forward, the inner eye observes the movement of the knees, the gentle rocking of the hips, a slow internal massage generated by the repetitive motion. This is the body's natural wisdom, moving efficiently and gracefully when freed from the constraints of haste. The left foot lands on a thick bed of dried leaves. This time, the crunch is louder, sharper, a dry, resonant sound like crinkling parchment. Listen to the sound decay. It lasts less than a second, yet it holds all the reality of that moment. Where does the sound go? It dissolves back into the silence from which it came, just like a thought, just like a feeling. The right foot follows. It finds a root, thick and gnarled, rising slightly above the path like the sleeping arm of the tree. The foot must accommodate this obstacle, lifting higher, flexing more acutely at the ankle. This small challenge requires heightened awareness, pulling the mind sharply back from any lingering distraction. The sole brushes the rough, dry bark of the root, a coarse, abrasive texture contrasting sharply with the softness of the moss and the smoothness of the stone. In the Zen tradition, there is the understanding that the path is not merely a means to an end, the path is the end. When a disciple asked Master Ikkyu, "What is the meaning of Zen?" Ikkyu simply began walking. When the disciple followed, Ikkyu stopped and said, "The walking is the meaning." Every step you take now is a complete circle of existence. It begins, it peaks, it resolves, and it dissolves. Focus on the heel lift, the letting go. Feel the tiny micro-tension of the muscles preparing for movement. Focus on the moment of suspension, the emptiness between steps, a brief, weightless pause. Focus on the landing, the solid, undeniable connection to the earth. Let your internal landscape mirror the external path. The path is uneven. It has soft parts and hard parts, high roots and low depressions. Your mind, too, is uneven. It has moments of clarity and moments of confusion, moments of ease and moments of friction. Do not try to smooth the path or force the mind into a uniform state. Simply observe the reality of what is beneath the foot and what is within the awareness. The scent deepens now. You are passing through a dense cluster of ferns, and the air is suddenly sharp with the smell of chlorophyll and crushed green leaves. It is a vibrant, living scent, mingling with the persistent, ancient aroma of pine. Take 5 steps, focusing only on the sensation of the air moving across the bridge of your nose as you inhale. Step 1. Inhale. Cool air, pine scent, pressure on the left heel. Step 2. Exhale. Warm air leaving the body, pressure on the right sole. Step 3. Inhale. The subtle movement of the diaphragm, left foot finds soft loam. Step 4. Exhale. Release of tension, right foot finds firm, cool clay. Step 5. Inhale. Complete presence. The body is light, yet deeply grounded. The light continues to change. The sun has moved just enough that a patch of ground that was previously in shadow is now bathed in the brilliant, warm glow. When your foot steps into this light, the visual change is dramatic. The colors of the leaves and the soil suddenly become saturated, rich, and detailed. The left foot lands. Observe the minute shadows cast by the smallest grains of sand and the tiniest ridges in the leather of your shoe. The light reveals the complexity of the ordinary. The right foot lands. It presses down on a small, perfectly round acorn. The shell cracks with a sharp, delicate pop, a sound distinct from the dull crunch of the leaves. This sound is a notification of life's fragility and resilience. The acorn is now part of the path, its contents mingling with the soil. Keep the gaze soft, slightly downward, resting on the space about 10 feet ahead. Do not fixate on the future path, but allow the eyes to remain receptive to the immediate foreground. This gentle gaze prevents striving and keeps the awareness close to the body. If you find yourself thinking, "How much longer must I walk?" that is the ego seeking a destination. Gently dismiss the question. There is no must. There is only the next step. The journey is not measured in miles or minutes, but in the depth of presence brought to each moment. Feel the texture of your clothing against your skin, the slight friction of the fabric around the waist, the coolness of the air on the exposed skin of the neck. These peripheral sensations anchor the mind further into the physical reality of the body. The path curves gently to the left, leading you deeper into the dense part of the wood. The light dims slightly. The sounds of the distant world, the faint hum of human activity, recede entirely. Now, the dominant sounds are purely organic. The rustle of a squirrel in the high branches, the low, persistent drone of insects near the damp ground, and the rhythmic, soft pad of your own feet. The left foot encounters a thick layer of moss, vibrant emerald green, clinging to the root system of a massive oak. This moss is profoundly soft, yielding completely beneath the weight. It feels cool, almost wet, providing a sensation of deep, natural cushioning. The foot lingers here for a fraction of a second longer, appreciating the texture of this living velvet. The right foot follows, finding an area where the moss has given way to exposed, gritty soil. The contrast in texture is a lesson in impermanence. The softness is gone, replaced by resistance. Accept the change without preference. Observe the quality of the stillness inside the chest. The heart rate is slow, steady, a quiet drum beating the rhythm of existence. The body is moving, yet the mind is resting. This is the paradox of walking meditation, movement that creates stillness. We continue the slow, precise movement. Lift, suspend, descend, settle. As the left foot rises, focus on the emptiness of the space where the foot was. That spot on the earth is now independent of you, returned to its natural state. As the right foot settles, focus on the weight, the grounding reality of gravity holding you securely to the planet. This path has no beginning and no end. It is an eternal present moment, unrolling step by step. When the walk becomes automatic, when the mind and the feet move in perfect, unforced harmony, that is true meditation. The monk and the path become one. The walker is dissolved into the walking. If anxiety is a knot, then each step is the slow, deliberate untying of that knot. The physical effort is so gentle, so rhythmic, that it calms the nervous system simply through repetition and intentionality. The worries of the future, which are merely projections of the mind, cannot cling to the solid, undeniable reality of the earth beneath the foot. Feel the subtle shift in temperature as you pass beneath a particularly large, sheltering fir tree. The air is noticeably colder here, carrying the sharp, medicinal scent of the needles. The light is reduced to a deep, blue-green twilight, even in the middle of the day. Right foot steps onto a thick carpet of fallen fir needles. They are dry, sharp, and resilient, creating a springy, slightly unstable surface. The walk requires micro-adjustments in balance, engaging the smaller muscles of the ankle and foot to stabilize the posture. This engagement is a form of deep concentration. The left foot follows, sinking into the fragrant, dry needles. The scent released is immediate and powerful, pure, concentrated pine resin, sharp and invigorating. Inhale this scent deeply, allowing it to cleanse the mind. We are walking in the footsteps of every seeker who has ever sought peace in movement. The path is ancient, but the step is newborn. Continue the slow dance of weight transfer. Left foot rises, light as air. Right foot anchors, heavy as stone. The body is a vessel for this simple, profound exchange of weight and release. If the mind persists in wandering, use a single word as the anchor, synchronized with the step. Present. Left step, present. Right step, present. Let the word dissolve the instant the foot settles. Do not analyze the word, simply use it as a gentle tether to the physical sensation. The forest floor is now slightly uphill. The effort required is marginally greater, and the pressure on the forward-moving foot is more intense. Feel the compression of the calf muscles, the intentional push from the back foot. This effort is not striving, but simply responding to the reality of the incline. Accept the effort. It is part of the path. The left foot finds a cluster of small, damp stones, slick with algae. The cool, wet sensation is registered instantly. The texture is smooth, yet slightly slimy. The weight transfers carefully, maintaining balance on the unstable surface. This moment demands complete vigilance. The right foot finds a dry patch of earth, covered in dry moss that crumbles into powder upon contact. The sensation is dry, warm, and dusty. The contrast is immediate: wetness and dryness, slickness and dust. Every step is a new lesson in impermanence, a new sensory input that arises and passes away. The path begins to level out. The trees thin slightly, and the light returns, flooding the path with a soft, diffused brightness. The air feels lighter, less dense. Take a moment to stop. Stand perfectly still. Do not adjust your posture. Simply stand on the 2 points of contact, the left foot resting on the dry earth, the right foot resting on the moss. Feel the lingering sensations in the soles of your feet, the residual warmth, the slight tingling where the blood flow has been activated, the memory of the textures you encountered. Breathe deeply, slowly, allowing the stillness to settle completely over the body and the mind. The anxiety has softened into a gentle, sustained quietude. The destination is irrelevant. The path is here, and the peace is now. When you are ready, begin the slow, deliberate process again. The next step is simply the continuation of the present moment, renewed and fresh. Left foot lifts, inhale. Right foot anchors, exhale. The walk continues, without end, without destination, held entirely within the timeless reality of the forest floor, allowing the current to flow. The breath settles now into a deeper, more resonant rhythm, a slow tide pulling from the quiet harbor of the lungs. Let the awareness rest upon the chest, noticing the gentle rise and fall, a movement so ancient and automatic that it requires no effort, only observation. We are moving beyond the threshold of simple stillness, easing now into the vastness of the present moment, allowing everything to be exactly as it is. Imagine, beneath you, not the surface upon which you rest, but the cool, dark earth, dissolving away until you are suspended above a profound and endless landscape. A landscape defined by movement and permanence. Before you unfolds a river, immense and slow, a body of water so wide that the far bank is hazy, indistinct, lost in a perpetual mist. This is not a mountain stream rushing headlong over sharp rocks. This is a foundational river, older than memory, moving with a silent, inexorable power. Its surface is dark, polished like obsidian, reflecting the deep, indifferent sky. This river represents the current of all things, the flow of time, the stream of experience, the ceaseless torrent of thoughts, memories, and worries that constitute the mind's activity. Notice its velocity. It is not fast, but it is utterly constant. There is never a moment when the water ceases its southward journey. Now, shift your perception. Allow yourself to sink gently through the dark surface of the water, descending into the cool, embracing depths. The sound of the world above fades into a muffled, distant hum, replaced by the deep, rhythmic shush of the current moving past. You are sinking, until your essence comes to rest upon the very bed of the river. You are not the water. You are the stone. You are a massive, smooth boulder settled deeply into the silt and clay of the riverbed. Feel the weight of this new form. It is immense, dense, utterly unmoving. You are anchored by gravity and by eons of waiting. The surface of your stone body is cool, slick with the slow passage of minerals and fine sediment. You are permanent. You are patient. Above you, the river flows. The current brushes against your surface, a continuous, subtle pressure. This current is the ceaseless activity of the mind. Watch it flow. It carries with it leaves of worry, branches of long-forgotten memories, glittering specks of future plans, the dark mud of regret, and the bright foam of fleeting joy. All of it moves, all of it passes. As the stone, you have no need to grab hold of any of these passing fragments. You do not try to divert the water, nor do you attempt to scoop up the worries and examine them. You simply observe the flow. Feel the subtle friction of the water moving over your dome. It creates a low, resonant vibration that runs through the very core of your stony being. This vibration is not disturbing, it is the sound of the world moving on, leaving you undisturbed. A large, dark shadow of anxiety drifts over your surface. It is a piece of driftwood, perhaps, knotted and heavy. It catches momentarily against the upstream edge of your stone form, creating a slight turbulence, a momentary drag. But because you are the stone, you do not shift. You do not panic. You hold your immense weight, and the current, with its endless persistence, gently nudges the dark shadow free, carrying it downstream, out of sight, dissolving into the hazy distance. This is the practice of allowing. We often mistake ourselves for the water, the anxiety, the thought, the movement, but we are the stone. We are the stillness upon which the movement plays out. The water is obligated to flow, the stone is obligated to remain. Focus now on the physical body, and let the metaphor of the stone guide the release of tension. The stone does not clench, it simply rests, accepting its weight. Begin with the intricate network of muscles surrounding the jaw. This is where we often hold the remnants of unvoiced words, the tension of resistance, the grip of concentration. Imagine the roots of this tension, small, tight fibers, like tiny wires drawn taut. Allow the jaw to become heavy, separate from the effort of holding it closed. Feel the slightest separation between the upper and lower teeth, a fraction of an inch of soft, yielding space. Notice the tiny, almost imperceptible slackening of the hinge joint, where the temporal bone meets the mandible. This release is not forced, it is an allowance, like a tightly wound spring finally forgetting its tension, letting the weight of gravity draw the chin gently downward. As the jaw softens, the expression softens. The lines around the mouth and eyes smooth out, melting away until the face is still, like polished, silent clay. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth, letting it rest heavy and broad upon the floor of the mouth, a soft, quiet muscle. The tongue, too, is heavy, unmoving, like a smooth, flat pebble in the riverbed. Let the coolness of the deep river seep into the small, overworked muscles of the face. Feel the eyelids become utterly still, heavy drapes over the eyes. The forehead is vast and smooth, a surface undisturbed by the smallest ripple of thought or concern. We move the awareness now to the shoulders, the great burden bearers of the body. These muscles are often braced against the current of life, anticipating the next challenge, holding up the weight of expectations. Imagine the shoulders as two great, sloping masses of your stony form. They are anchored deeply. They do not need to rise or brace. Allow them to surrender entirely to the pull of gravity. Feel the weight of the arms drawing them down, away from the neck and ears. Notice the intricate knot of tension where the neck meets the upper back. Send the cool, penetrating awareness of the river into this area. As the water flows over the stone, it smooths and polishes. Let the current of your breath, slow and deep, smooth and polish the tension in the trapezius muscles. With every slow, deliberate exhale, visualize the tension dissolving, not flying away, but simply melting, becoming part of the fluid current that flows past. The shoulders grow heavy, heavier than any feather, heavier than any burden. They sink, sinking into the resting surface beneath you, merging with the support, finding their true, effortless position. Feel the profound relief in this surrender. You are the stone. You do not carry the river. The river simply flows over you. This is the essence of the Zen tale of the boatman who carried a heavy sack of rice across a rushing stream. When he reached the far bank, he threw the sack down with a grunt of relief. But the monk traveling with him pointed out, "You carried the sack, but you did not become the sack. You let it rest upon your shoulders, and when the journey was done, you released it. Why, then, do you carry the anxieties of yesterday into the stillness of this moment, when they have already passed downstream? We are releasing the sack now. The load is dropped. Let the awareness drift down the arms, through the elbows and forearms, reaching the hands. The hands are instruments of action, of grasping, of control. They are the last places to willingly let go. Observe the hands, perhaps curled slightly, perhaps resting with the fingers lightly touching. Allow the muscles of the palms and fingers to soften completely. Release the small, tenacious grip that the hands often maintain, even in sleep. The hands become heavy, open, receptive, yet entirely passive. Imagine them resting upon the riverbed, two flat, smooth stones of a smaller size, settled next to the main boulder. Feel the subtle pulse of life within the fingertips, but let the movement cease. The fingers uncurl, lengthening slightly, becoming inert. The coolness of the deep water permeates the bones of the hand, bringing a sensation of profound, heavy stillness. There is nothing left to grasp, nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to manipulate or control. The flow is perfect as it is. The hands are relaxed, the shoulders are surrendered, the jaw is soft. The whole body is sinking, becoming one with the immense, unmoving weight of the stone. Feel the surface beneath you, the blanket, the mattress, the floor, now pressing back against your weight with equal, unwavering support. You are fully supported. You do not need to hold yourself up. You do not need to resist the pull of gravity. Gravity is now your friend, a gentle force that draws every tired muscle, every overactive nerve, deeper into the restful security of the earth. The current above you continues its endless journey. Listen to the sound of it, the low, steady shush and whisper of the water passing over the stone. It is the sound of time moving, of life unfolding, entirely independent of your effort. The thoughts that arise are simply debris carried by the current, a flash of a memory. A bright green leaf skims past your gaze. A worry about tomorrow. A piece of dark sediment swirls momentarily before being pulled away. A feeling of regret. A small eddy forming just behind your stone form, quickly smoothing out. You, the stone, observe it all without judgment and without involvement. You are the stillness that makes the movement visible. You realize that your peace is not dependent on stopping the river. Your peace is dependent on recognizing that you are not the river. Allow the slow, deep breath to continue its work, a steady internal tide that mirrors the external flow. With every inhale, you draw in the deep, cool stillness of the riverbed. With every exhale, you release any remaining resistance, any last little bit of grit clinging to the surface of the stone. The depth of the water is immense. The pressure of the water is comforting, like a heavy, soft blanket pressing you firmly into the earth. You are safe here, anchored and protected by the sheer weight of your existence. There is a deep, resonant calm in being this unmoving witness. The movement of the world is beautiful in its constancy, and your stillness is beautiful in its strength. The stone has no past and no future. It only has the absolute, unyielding reality of the present moment, here, now, beneath the flow. Sink deeper into this feeling of anchored relaxation. The feeling of the jaw slackening, the shoulders dropping, the hands opening. All the instruments of doing are now surrendered to the state of being. Let the sounds of the room, the sounds outside, become merely part of the endless current. They flow past the stone, neither inviting interaction nor demanding attention. They are just vibrations in the water, dissolving as soon as they are perceived. You are entering a state of effortless being, a deep, heavy peace that resides at the core of your quiet self. You are the foundation. You are the anchor. You are the stillness that allows the current to flow. Rest here, heavy and profound, in the deep silence of the riverbed. The clarity of unclouded awareness. We arrive now at the edge of a high mountain lake, far above the restless valleys. The air here is thin, sharp with the scent of frozen pine and ancient rock, yet it holds a profound quietude that settles immediately upon the skin. Allow the sound of my voice to guide you, but let the primary focus reside in the silence that surrounds it. A silence so deep it feels like a texture, like velvet absorbing all sound. The night is vast. Look out across the water, though your eyes remain closed. Sense the impossible stillness of the surface. This is not the mild quiet of a pond sheltered from the wind. This is the absolute molecular cessation of movement. The water is a sheet of black glass, polished by eons of cold, high air. It defies gravity, holding the weight of the entire cosmos upon its tension. Above us, the sky is a declaration of infinite depth. Below us, the lake holds that declaration perfectly. We are here tonight to understand the mind not as something that needs fixing, but as something that is inherently, flawlessly reflective. We are here to cease the exhausting, ceaseless labor of polishing the mirror. Settle deeper into your own foundation. Feel the slow, even weight of your body anchoring itself against the pull of the earth. Let the muscles that hold your posture relax just enough so that you are supported by structure, not by tension. Soften the hinge of the jaw. Let the tongue rest heavily in the floor of the mouth. Draw a breath, long and cool, sensing the slight elevation of the ribs. Release it slowly, letting the chest soften inward, allowing the shoulders to drift a millimeter closer to the ground. This breath is the only necessary movement in this vast, frozen landscape of quietude. We turn our attention to the ancient Zen teaching that describes the mind as a mirror. For generations, practitioners have struggled with the question of dust. One master wrote, "The body is the Bodhi tree. The mind is like a clear mirror stand. Take care to wipe it constantly, and let no dust alight." This verse speaks to the diligent effort, the ceaseless vigilance required to maintain purity. It speaks to the anxiety of maintenance, the fear that if we stop wiping, the dust of distraction, worry, and attachment will settle, obscuring the truth. It is the practice of constant effort, the striving to fix the mind. But another master, responding to this deep anxiety, offered a different vision, a profound release. Bodhi originally has no tree. The clear mirror also has no stand. Originally there is not a single thing. Where can dust alight? This second verse is not a call to laziness, but an invitation to ultimate trust. It is the realization that the mirror of the mind is not a physical object that can be stained or broken. It is the awareness itself, pure, empty, and luminous. It does not need polishing, because fundamentally there is nothing to polish. Tonight, we practice the second teaching. We cease the wiping. We let go of the cloth. Imagine the high mountain lake before you. It perfectly reflects the star fields above. If a single pebble were tossed into the water, the surface would shatter into 1,000 shivering fragments. The reflection would be lost, distorted, agitated. But the lake does not need to try to be still. It simply is still, constrained by the cold, vast depth, resting in its own nature. We often believe our agitation is the dust, and our effort is the wiping. We think we must force the ripples out, we must command the surface to be smooth. But this very effort is the second pebble, the second disturbance. The striving to be still is itself a form of restlessness. Let us watch reflection now, with an immense, unhurried patience. The surface of the water is blacker than coal, yet it holds the light of distant galaxies with startling clarity. Trace the path of the Milky Way, which appears as a faint, ethereal stain of powdered diamonds spilled across the black velvet. Each star is a perfect point of white-hot stillness, doubled precisely beneath the waterline. The reflection is not a dim copy, it is an equal partner to the sky above. Notice the profound depth of the reflection. It seems to go down infinitely, mirroring the infinite space above. We are suspended between two infinities, the zenith and the nadir, the sky and its reflection. Allow your awareness to expand to encompass this dual immensity. You are floating in the center of this quiet, reflected space. Your breath is the only movement, slow and rhythmic, a gentle tide that rises and falls within the vast silence. In this deep quiet, if a thought arises, a worry about tomorrow, a memory of yesterday, a small judgment about the quality of the stillness, do not treat it as dust. Do not rush to wipe it away. See the thought as a tiny, almost imperceptible ripple on the surface of the lake. It is a slight distortion of the perfect reflection. The instinct, the old habit, is to lean forward and try to smooth the water with your hand, to force the ripple to disappear. Resist this instinct. Instead, simply observe the ripple. Give it space. Recognize that the ripple is merely a temporary fluctuation of the water's nature. It is not the water itself. It is not the reflection itself. If you do nothing, if you withhold the wiping hand, what happens to the ripple? Watch with slow, focused attention. The water, trusting its own nature, begins the work of self-correction. The surface tension, guided by the immense, quiet pressure of the surrounding depth, begins to pull the disturbed molecules back into alignment. The ripple slows, the edges soften, the height diminishes. It spreads outward, losing intensity, until finally it merges back into the flawless sheet of obsidian. The reflection snaps back into perfect clarity. This is the clarity of unclouded awareness. The mind, when left alone, returns naturally to its inherent stillness. We do not polish the mirror, we simply step back from it, allowing the dust, the thought, the worry, to settle and dissolve according to the laws of its own temporary existence. Let the shoulders relax again. Feel the heavy, profound peace of non-doing. You are not striving to be peaceful. You are simply resting in the peace that is already here, beneath the surface agitation. The longer you rest here, the more the surrounding silence deepens. The stars reflected in the lake are utterly motionless. They have waited for millions of years for your attention, and they will wait for millions more. Their light travels across unimaginable space, only to arrive here, to be held perfectly in the water's stillness. Notice the quality of the cold, clean air as you inhale. It cleanses the inner passages, a subtle, purifying flow. As you exhale, imagine the release of all the tiny, accumulated efforts of the day, the efforts to fix, to manage, to control. Let them dissipate like faint mist over the cold water. There is no need to maintain the reflection. The reflection is the state of the lake. If your mind wanders, if you find yourself back in the habit of judgment, I should be calmer, I should be focusing better. This is the dust of self-criticism. Do not wipe it. Simply note, self-criticism has arisen, and gently return your attention to the vast, silent space before you. The mirror is the mind. The clarity is the natural state of the mind. The dust is the temporary thought. The polishing is the effort to control the thought. We stop polishing. We trust the vastness. Focus now on the deep, cold stillness of the lake's bottom. Though we cannot see it, we sense the immense, steady pressure of the water column. That pressure is what allows the surface to remain so perfectly calm. It is the depth that supports the stillness. In your own being, feel the depth beneath your surface thoughts. Feel the reservoir of quietude that has always been present, waiting for you to stop the ceaseless effort of the surface. This depth is your inherent awareness, untouched by the ripples above. Let the breath become softer still, almost imperceptible. It is the breath of a creature resting utterly, safe within its environment. Imagine that the very act of resting your attention on the lake's reflection is dissolving the boundary between yourself and the water. You are becoming the stillness. The cold, clear clarity of the mountain night is flowing into your awareness. We sit in the profound understanding of Huineng's verse, "Originally, there is not a single thing. Where can dust alight?" This does not mean we have no thoughts. It means that the thoughts do not adhere to the fundamental nature of awareness. They are passing clouds across an endless sky. They are ripples across a deep lake. They are not the sky, and they are not the lake. Feel the sensation of your eyelids resting heavily, sealed against the light. Inside the darkness of your own closed eyes, there is a quiet, deep luminescence. This is the light of the inherent mirror, shining without effort, without need for maintenance. Let us spend the next few moments resting in the effortless clarity. If the mind begins to spin a story, do not engage. Do not follow the thread. Do not try to cut the thread. Simply let the story fall away, like a scarf dropping slowly through still water, settling gently into the profound quiet of the bottom. If you notice any lingering tension in your body, perhaps in the space between the brows or the tightness in the chest, release the effort to hold that tension. Allow those muscles to trust the stillness. The lake reflects the vast, slow turning of the constellations. We are witnessing time on a scale that dwarfs human anxiety. The slow, majestic sweep of the cosmos is mirrored in the small, quiet space of your own resting mind. Let the feeling of profound relief settle into your bones. The work of polishing is over. The striving is finished. There is nothing left to fix, nothing left to achieve. The clarity is simply here, waiting for the cessation of effort. Rest in the understanding that your awareness is already perfect, already clear, already whole. It is luminous by its very nature. The deep cold of the high mountain air now feels less sharp and more protective, wrapping around you like a heavy, silent blanket. The silence is no longer an absence of sound, but a presence, a deep, resonant hum of absolute peace. Sink further into the sensation of effortless presence. The breath continues its slow, rhythmic work, a gentle, quiet mechanism within the immense stillness. Every exhalation is a surrender, a deepening trust in the inherent clarity. We are dissolving into the reflection, becoming one with the quiet dark, one with the perfect surface. There is no dust. There is no need for wiping. There is only the vast, unclouded awareness, leading you deeper now into the profound, restorative peace. Let the weight of the head become heavy upon the pillow. Let the neck soften entirely. Trust the earth to hold you. The stars above and the stars below are merging into a single, silent field of light. You are drifting gently within this field, utterly safe, utterly still. The clarity of the unclouded mirror is the clarity of deep sleep. Allow yourself to fall into that absolute, effortless peace. Microcosm of the present. We settle now into the deep, quiet heart of the temple garden, where the air itself feels rinsed by silence. Let the world outside, with its insistent demands and quickening pace, recede like a distant shore. Here, the only calendar is the slow drift of sunlight across stone, and the only clock is the steady, unhurried rhythm of your own breath. We do not seek to change anything, only to observe. We are cultivating a deep, accepting stillness, allowing the mind to rest in the cradle of the present moment. This moment, unfolding right now, is a complete universe, perfect and whole, requiring nothing more than our gentle attention. Sink down, let the weight of your body be fully supported, and simply breathe. We turn our attention, softly, toward a single, solitary object in this vast garden of quietude. It is a lotus leaf, severed perhaps by a night storm, now floating free upon the surface of the dark, placid water. It is not large, perhaps the size of a cupped hand, yet within its small circumference we shall find the entire, boundless universe of the present moment. Allow your inner gaze to settle upon this leaf. See how it rests, without effort, fully supported by the liquid plane beneath it. It is an island of jade green floating on a sea of polished obsidian. The edges are slightly curled, giving it a delicate, almost protective rim, like a small, upturned bowl. Observe the color. It is not a uniform hue, but a complex tapestry woven from light and shadow. At the very center, where the stem once connected, the green is deepest, a rich, saturated forest shade, heavy with chlorophyll and life. This depth gradually softens as the eye moves outward, lightening to a pale, almost luminous emerald at the very perimeter, where the tissue is thinnest and most translucent against the sun. Now, focus intensely on the texture. The lotus leaf possesses an extraordinary surface, known to be super hydrophobic. It repels water with a fierce, silent efficiency. Imagine running a fingertip across this surface, though you do not touch it. It is not smooth like glass, but possesses a fine, microscopic nap, a velvety texture composed of countless tiny, waxy hairs. This texture is what holds the light, diffusing the glare into a soft, matte sheen. As the angle of the sun shifts, even fractionally, the surface seems to inhale and exhale light, changing from a dull velvet to a polished satin. This specialized texture is the stage for the most fascinating actors, the water droplets. Look closely at the few beads of water that have gathered upon the surface. They are not flat, damp spots, but perfect miniature spheres. Because the leaf refuses to absorb them, the water molecules cling tightly to themselves, forming liquid jewels that seem to defy gravity. Follow the curve of one specific droplet. It might be the size of a pearl, sitting high and proud on the green velvet cushion. It catches the ambient light, the filtered sunlight, the reflection of the sky, the muted grey of the surrounding air, and compresses all that vast illumination into a single, blazing point. Within this tiny sphere, the world is inverted and magnified. You can see the faint, warped reflection of the bamboo grove, or the vague, elongated shape of a cloud passing overhead. This droplet is a moment of pure physics, pure now. It has no past, it has not yet run down the surface. It has no future, it is not yet evaporated. It simply is, holding its spherical form against the pull of the earth, a testament to the powerful, silent forces operating in the immediate present. Watch it. Does it move? The movement is so slow, so subtle, it might be mistaken for stillness. Perhaps the slightest tremor in the air, a movement too gentle to be called a breeze, nudges the sphere. It does not slide, it rolls. It maintains its integrity, its perfect shape, as it traverses the microscopic landscape of the leaf's veins and ridges. This rolling motion is the slowest drama imaginable, a gentle, silent migration across a vast, green plain. Allow your breathing to synchronize with this slow, silent observation. As you inhale, notice how your mind settles further onto the surface of the leaf. As you exhale, imagine the breath itself, subtle current that might, eventually, move that water bead forward a millimeter. We are practicing Zen concentration here, focusing on the one thing. When the mind attempts to drift, to rehearse tomorrow's conversation, or to regret yesterday's choice, gently, patiently, bring it back. Not to the whole pond, not to the whole garden, but specifically to the relationship between the velvety green surface and the liquid mercury droplet resting upon it. Notice the minute differences in the droplets. One might be elongated, hugging a ridge. Another might be perfectly round, sitting in a slight depression, a tiny, self-contained world. The light striking a third droplet might cause a momentary flash, a prismatic burst of color, a fleeting spectrum of red, blue, and gold, gone as quickly as it appeared. This momentary flash is the present moment in its most vivid, ephemeral form. It exists fully, completely, and then it dissolves back into the general light, leaving no trace, no memory, no expectation. Consider the network of veins beneath the surface. They are structural supports, pathways that once carried the life-giving fluids of the plant. They radiate outward from the central point, creating a delicate, intricate geometry. Though the leaf is now detached, this structure persists. Run your inner eye along one of these veins. It is slightly raised, a tiny, hardened highway. The droplet, as it rolls, must navigate this topography, momentarily pausing as it encounters the slight incline, then accelerating slightly as it passes over the crest. This tiny journey of the water bead across the vein is a profound lesson in time. In the normal rush of life, such a movement would be invisible, irrelevant. By slowing our perception, by stretching the now, we grant it immense significance. We are dissolving the conceptual future, the notion that we are perpetually moving toward something. Here, we are simply where we are. The leaf is here, the water is here, our breath is here. Listen now to the sounds that pertain only to this microcosm. The sound is not loud, but perhaps you can perceive the faint, high-frequency sibilance of the air flowing over the leaf's surface. It is the softest whisper of friction, a sound that requires absolute stillness to detect. It is the sound of the world breathing next to your ear. If a tiny insect, perhaps a water strider, were to approach the edge of the leaf, its arrival would cause a monumental tremor in this small world. But there is only silence and the occasional, almost imperceptible ripple from the water beneath. Focus on the underside of the leaf now. It is submerged just at the surface tension line. Imagine the shadow it casts into the dark, reflective water below. The shadow is not a flat, black shape, but a soft, blurred halo, shifting slightly as the water undulates. This shadow is the past, the part of the leaf that is hidden, yet supports the bright surface above. We do not linger there, but acknowledge its presence. We return to the surface, the bright, velvety present. Look again at the water droplets. Perhaps the sun has moved slightly, and the light is now striking them from a different angle, transforming them from incandescent points to deep, clear lenses. Notice the way the surface tension holds them so rigidly, so beautifully complete. They are perfect spheres because they are entirely focused on being themselves right now. They are not trying to be a stream or a cloud. They are simply being a bead of water on a lotus leaf. This is the essence of being present. Your mind, too, can be a perfect sphere, holding its energy together, refusing to be pulled apart by the surface tension of worry or the gravity of regret. We will stay here for a long time, held captive by the beauty of this minute detail. The mind will try to escape, suggesting thoughts of tasks, memories, or future plans. When this happens, do not judge the thought. Simply observe it, acknowledge its passing nature, and gently, firmly, bring your attention back to the green velvet texture. Return to the fine hairs, the network of veins, the gentle curve of the rim. Imagine the feeling of the leaf if you were to hold it, the cool, slightly damp smoothness of the underside, contrasting sharply with the dry, plush resistance of the top. The leaf is resilient. It has survived detachment and now floats freely, fully engaged in its current existence. It is a master of the now. Let us choose one specific point on the leaf, a tiny imperfection, perhaps a spot where a small insect has chewed a microscopic bite, leaving a dark crescent mark. Focus all your mental energy on that single, dark spot. It is a point of absolute stillness, a point of grounding. Everything else, the reflection, the water beads, the surrounding pond, becomes background, dissolving into a soft, hazy periphery. Only this tiny, dark mark remains sharp and real. Hold this focus for the span of 10 slow, deliberate breaths. Inhale, I see the spot. Exhale, I am here. The intense focus required to maintain attention on such a small, non-moving detail forces the mind to stop its habitual leapfrogging across time. The future is an abstraction that cannot be found in the velvety texture of the leaf. The past is a memory that cannot be found in the perfect sphere of the water droplet. All that remains is the physical, undeniable reality of the present. Feel how your body responds to this depth of focus. The shoulders relax slightly. The jaw softens. The eyes, though closed, feel rested, as the internal effort of seeking or planning has ceased. You are simply receiving the input of the imagination, anchored by the reality of the breath. We remain suspended in this microscopic world. The light on the leaf changes again. It is softer now. Perhaps the sun has slipped behind a thin veil of cloud. The colors deepen, becoming richer, less reflective. The bright highlights on the water beads dim, turning them into spheres of smoky quartz rather than diamond. This shift in light is the only movement of time, and it is a movement that happens to us, not by us. We are passive observers of the slow, gentle unfolding. Consider the edge of the leaf again. It meets the water in a precise, clean line. There is no blending, only a distinct boundary between the solid green and the liquid dark. This boundary is the edge of your consciousness, defining what is here, present, and what is outside, irrelevant. Let everything that is not the leaf, not the water, not your breath, stay outside that boundary. The weight of the leaf is negligible, yet it holds the entire architecture of the moment. We are not seeking grand insights or dramatic revelations. We are seeking the deep, profound peace that comes from recognizing that the smallest, simplest thing, a floating leaf, a bead of water, is fully capable of sustaining our attention and our being. Let the final moments of this exercise be an act of profound surrender. Surrender the need to know what comes next. Surrender the need to finish a thought. Surrender to the velvety green, to the cool, dark water, and to the unwavering presence of the liquid jewels resting silently on the surface. You are here. The leaf is here. The present moment is complete. Rest in this perfect microcosm. Let the stillness deepen, dissolving the boundaries between yourself and the peaceful, floating green. Rest. Rest now. Resting in the space between sounds. We turn now from the sound itself to the profound and unblemished stillness that exists in the heart of the night. Do not strain to hear the distant murmurings, the faint reports of the world beyond the walls. Instead, let your listening deepen, becoming vast and receptive, like an enormous, empty bowl held up to the sky. We seek the silence, the sacred pause, the moment of absolute cessation that follows every tiny vibration. Listen for the sound of the crickets. Perhaps a single, sharp staccato rhythm cuts the air, insistent and bright. Follow the sound to its peak, and then wait. Wait for the moment it resolves, the microsecond of pure, uncolored silence that rushes in to fill the vacancy left behind. This space, this delicate gap, is the true resting place. It is the present moment, untouched by narrative, unburdened by echo, utterly fresh. The wind chimes, if they move at all, offer a cascade of silver notes, a liquid melody spilling into the darkness. Hear the final, highest chime, the one that seems to hang suspended in the air. Now, follow it down, 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 until the sound thins into invisibility. What remains? A field of silence, unbroken and deep. This is the velvet texture of the night itself. Rest here. Do not chase the next chime. Do not anticipate the next sound. Simply reside in the purity of the interval. Imagine the mind as a still pond. Thoughts and sounds are like pebbles dropped upon the surface, creating ripples. We have spent much time watching the ripples, analyzing their size and direction. Now, we are learning to observe the water itself, the deep, quiet water that exists between each concentric ring. The stillness is always available, always beneath the movement. Notice the sound of the house settling, a faint groan of wood, a click of temperature change, the quiet sigh of materials expanding or contracting. Each sound is a tiny, temporary event. It arises, it lingers, and it dissolves. And when it dissolves, it yields its space back to the silence. This silence is not merely the absence of noise, it is a presence, a deep, nourishing reservoir of peace. It feels cool and spacious. It is utterly safe. Let us consider the Zen metaphor of the bell. When the bell is struck, the sound is magnificent, a rich, resonant wave that washes over everything. But the true beauty of the bell lies in its inherent emptiness, the hollow core that allows the sound to exist. The striking of the bell is the arrival of a thought, a worry, a fleeting sensory input. But the silence before the strike, and the silence that rushes back in after the final vibration has faded, that is the true, unadorned nature of the mind. Linger in the echo. Listen until the echo itself becomes silent. This moment of pure auditory stillness is the portal to the deeper relaxation we seek. When the mind is not grasping at the passing sounds, when it is content to rest in the gaps, the entire nervous system begins to unwind. The tension that holds the stories of the day tight in your chest begins to loosen its grip. You are simply listening to the great, wide isness of the night. If a thought arises, a plan for tomorrow, a memory from yesterday, treat it exactly as you treat the distant sound of a car passing. Hear it, acknowledge its fleeting existence, and then, without judgment or attachment, watch it dissolve back into the silence from which it came. Do not follow the sound down the road. Do not follow the thought into its narrative landscape. Return your awareness to the space between. It is spacious, vast, and completely accepting. It requires nothing of you. It judges nothing. It simply is. Now, allow this profound auditory stillness to merge with the sensation of your body resting. The ears have done their work, guiding you into the unmoving center. We move the awareness now, gently, from the external field of sound to the internal field of sensation. We are preparing the body for absolute surrender. Feel the immense weight of your physical form, the way gravity is pulling you down, 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 into the deep support beneath you. Sense the contact points, the heels, the calves, the back of the thighs, the curve of the lower spine, the broad expanse of the shoulders, the weight of the skull. These points are your anchors, the places where the body is held completely and without effort. With every out-breath, imagine that the surface beneath you becomes infinitesimally softer, more yielding. You are not holding yourself up, you are being held. The earth is a cradle, vast and dependable. Allow your weight to pour out of you, like warm, liquid honey sinking into the ground. We begin the body scan, not as a search for tension, but as an invitation for deep, unconditional release. Start with the intricate landscape of the face. The face holds the mask of the day, the small, unconscious efforts of expression, concentration, and defense. Bring your gentle attention to the forehead. Notice any subtle furrowing, any tightness near the brow line. With a long, slow exhale, let the skin of the forehead smooth out, becoming wide and placid, like the surface of a calm lake. Feel the muscles beneath the skin softening, releasing their grip. Move to the eyes. The eyes have seen so much, absorbed so much light and information. Let the eyelids feel heavy, utterly still. Imagine the small muscles around the sockets relaxing completely. Let the eyeballs themselves sink back slightly into the cushioning of the skull, finding their deepest, most restful position. There is nothing left to look at, nothing left to analyze, just rest. Now, the jaw. This is often a deep reservoir of stored anxiety and unsaid words. Notice if the teeth are clenched, even lightly. Gently allow the jaw to unclench, separating the upper and lower rows of teeth by the slightest margin. Let the tongue rest heavily in the floor of the mouth. Feel the hinge points of the jaw relaxing, softening, releasing years of held tension. The entire lower face becomes slack, heavy, and wonderfully inert. Allow the relaxation to flow down into the throat and neck. These muscles work tirelessly to hold the head upright, to facilitate speech and swallowing. Now they are off duty. Feel the back of the neck lengthening and softening, the weight of the head sinking heavily into the support beneath it. Imagine the throat opening, becoming spacious and clear, utterly free of constriction. All the words, all the worries, all the knots of communication are simply melting away. Move your awareness now to the shoulders. The shoulders carry the burdens of responsibility, the weight of expectation. Feel them broad and heavy. With the next deep, slow out-breath, imagine the shoulders spreading wider, sinking lower, melting away from the ears. Let the weight slide off them, down the arms, and out through the fingertips. The shoulders are now soft, rounded, and surrendered. Follow this wave of relaxation down the arms. Feel the heaviness in the upper arm, the elbow joint, the forearm. The hands, which are so often busy, active, and grasping, are now completely still. Notice the texture of the surface beneath them, the warmth accumulating in the palms. Let the fingers curl naturally, softly, effortlessly. The arms are heavy, inert, and deeply relaxed. Bring your attention to the chest and the heart center. Feel the gentle, rhythmic rising and falling of the rib cage with each breath. This movement is effortless, automatic, and sustaining. Do not try to control the breath, simply observe its natural, easy rhythm. As you exhale, let the chest soften inward, releasing any lingering tightness or emotional bracing. The heart is quiet, steady, and peaceful. Now, the abdomen. The seat of intuition, the center of the body's energy. Let the muscles of the belly become completely soft and pliable. Allow the breath to descend deeply, expanding the abdomen gently on the inhale and softening it entirely on the exhale. There is no need to hold tension here, no need to brace against the world. The belly is soft, warm, and deeply receptive. The relaxation flows downward into the hips and the pelvis. This is the foundation of the body, often holding tension related to movement and stability. Let the hips sink heavily into the surface, wider and more relaxed than before. Release any tension in the gluteal muscles. Feel the profound, luxurious surrender of this core area. Follow the sensation down the thighs. Feel the large muscles softening, becoming heavy and dense. The knees, those complex hinges, become still and unmoving. All effort is draining away. The legs are two columns of immense, satisfying weight. Finally, the awareness moves to the lower legs and the feet. The calves are heavy. The ankles are loose. The feet, which carry you through the world, are now completely resting. Feel the soles of the feet softening, the toes becoming slack and still. There is no destination left to walk toward. The journey is complete. The entire body is now unified in stillness. From the crown of the head to the tips of the toes, the body is heavy, warm, and deeply surrendered. You are resting in the space between sounds, and you are resting in the space between breaths. Return your attention one last time to the auditory field. The gentle sounds of the night may still be present, the far-off whisper of the wind, the settling of the floorboards. but your focus is not on the sound itself, but on the profound, enveloping silence that holds everything. This silence is the home of the present moment. It is the unblemished canvas upon which the world paints its passing events. You are resting in this silence. You are safe in this silence. You are one with this silence. Allow yourself to drift now, completely supported, utterly still, knowing that you require nothing more than this moment of quiet, deep, and unconditional peace. Let the silence of the night enter your bones and permeate your mind, leading you deeper into relaxation. You are simply resting, resting, resting. Returning to the inner sanctuary. The ground beneath you remains solid, a vast, unwavering support. Feel the gravity of the earth pulling gently, persuasively, on every molecule of your being. You are heavy, heavy with the beautiful weight of acceptance, heavy with the relinquishing of effort. Let the shoulders sink deeper, the hips settle further, the limbs become almost liquid where they rest. There is no need to hold yourself up, no need to brace against the current of time. Now, we turn our awareness entirely inward, seeking a space that is always available, always perfectly prepared for your arrival. This is the inner sanctuary, a place of ancient, unshakable peace located deep within the center of your chest. Imagine this space not as a hollow chamber, but as a small, circular hearth, carved from smooth, dark stone, perhaps basalt or river rock, cooled and polished by millennia. This hearth is your true center. It is not cold, nor is it empty. It is warmed by a gentle, steady, internal fire. Focus your attention precisely on the area just behind the breastbone, the quiet core of your being. Begin to perceive a faint, subtle warmth arising there. It is not a burning heat, nor a sudden flush, but a deep, abiding ember glow. The color of this inner fire is soft apricot and aged copper, a rich, velvety hue that pulses with the slow rhythm of your quiet heart. This hearth fire does not require fuel from the outside world. It is sustained by the eternal breath, by the very essence of your life force. Listen closely, and you might perceive the sound it makes. Not the crackle of dry wood, but a profound, low hum, like the sound of wind moving through a deep, mossy cave, utterly protected and contained. This warmth begins to expand, radiating outward from that central point. It moves with a deliberate, honeyed slowness. First, it softens the dense muscle surrounding your spine, melting away any last lingering rigidity in the back. Feel the warmth seep into the shoulder blades, easing the deep-set tension often carried there. The burdens of responsibility, the weight of unsaid words. They begin to dissolve into the radiant, gentle heat. The warmth spreads forward, bathing the rib cage. Each rib feels softened, liberated, allowing the lungs to draw in breath with effortless depth. The diaphragm relaxes entirely, no longer restricted by the constant low-level anxiety that often keeps it taut. You are breathing into the fire, and the fire breathes with you. This internal hearth is the safest place you know. It has witnessed every moment of your life, yet it judges nothing. It is the repository of your deepest wisdom, the silent observer of your journey. Now, we invite any remaining anxieties, any stray thoughts that still cling to the edges of the mind, to come forward and approach this inner fire. Do not force them, and certainly do not wrestle with them. Simply acknowledge them as small, dry leaves that have fluttered down from the tree of the day. Perhaps there is a worry about tomorrow's tasks, a small, sharp pebble of concern. Gently, without judgment, take that pebble and place it upon the soft, glowing embers of the inner hearth. Watch how the heat immediately embraces it, not consuming it violently, but transforming it quietly. The sharp edges soften, the density dissolves, It becomes ash, light and inconsequential, merging back into the atmosphere of peace. Perhaps there is a lingering emotional residue, a moment of frustration from hours ago, a misunderstanding that played on repeat. Visualize this feeling as a wisp of dark, cool smoke. Offer it to the rising warmth of the fire. As the smoke touches the heat, it does not resist, it simply lifts, expands, and dissipates into the vast, clear space above the hearth. It ceases to hold form or meaning, it is gone, released by the simple act of offering. Continue this practice, moving through the inventory of your internal landscape. Any regret, any impatience, any sense of inadequacy, each is merely a small, unnecessary burden. They are not who you are, they are simply temporary clouds passing. Take the memory of a recent moment of haste or hurried action. Place the sensation of rush onto the fire. The fire teaches patience. It glows slowly, steadily, demonstrating the profound power of constancy over speed. Take the feeling of wanting things to be different than they are. Place this resistance onto the hearth. The fire teaches acceptance. It is what it is, a perfect, glowing point of light, needing no alteration. With every breath, you are feeding the fire with release, and in return, the fire feeds you with warmth. The more you let go, the brighter, deeper, and more pervasive the glow becomes. Feel the heat now moving beyond the central core, beginning its slow journey down the arms. It flows like warm, thick oil, lubricating the elbows, softening the forearms, reaching the wrists. The palms of your hands, often sites of nervous energy or gripping, are now deeply relaxed, infused with the gentle, grounding heat. The fingers curl slightly, effortlessly, becoming heavy and inert. They are resting completely, held entirely by the warmth radiating from within. The sanctuary expands upward, filling the throat, softening the cords that often hold tension from speech or silence. The warmth flows into the jaw, releasing the deep-set clenching that many carry unconsciously. The muscles of the face, the forehead, the space between the brows, all are touched by the gentle inner radiance. The heat smooths every furrow, every line of worry, leaving the face completely slack, completely trusting. Now, guide the warmth downward into the lower body. The inner hearth is powerful enough to reach the furthest points of your physical form. Feel the heat descending through the abdomen, melting away the last vestiges of digestive tension or nervous knots. The warmth sinks into the pelvis, a basin of deep rest, grounding and stable. It flows down the thighs, heavy and solid, through the knees, which surrender their ability to flex or move. The lower legs become completely saturated with this abiding warmth, and finally, the heat reaches the soles of the feet. The feet, which carry you through the world, now rest. They are heavy, warm, and deeply rooted, connected to the earth, yet simultaneously warmed by the internal fire. Every cell in your body is now participating in this deep, internal radiance. You are no longer merely resting on the ground, you are resting within your own warmth. You are a vessel filled with this soft, glowing light. This is the ancient wisdom of the inner sanctuary. The Zen masters often speak of the mind being like a clear pool of water. When the water is stirred by the winds of thought and emotion, the surface is agitated and the bottom cannot be seen. But when the wind ceases, the surface becomes still and the clarity returns. Your inner hearth is the perpetual stillness at the bottom of the pool. It is the source of warmth that remains constant, regardless of the storm on the surface. You do not need to look outward for reassurance. You need only return to the glow within your chest. Take a deep, slow breath, and as you exhale, imagine the air leaving your body, carrying with it the last fragments of coolness or resistance. The breath feeds the fire, and the fire returns a profound sense of heavy, tranquil support. Allow the body to become even heavier now, weighted by this deep, pervasive heat. You are melting into the support beneath you, secure in the knowledge that you are completely safe, completely held, and completely warm from the inside out. There is nothing left to tend to, nothing left to fix, nowhere left to go. The glow in the center of your chest is not just warmth, it is the silent affirmation of your inherent completeness. It is the peace that existed before thought arose, and the peace that will remain when all thoughts have ceased. Rest here, suspended in this perfect inner warmth. Let the glow deepen and soften, cradling you entirely. The mind, having released its burdens into the safe heat, now begins to drift, gently, effortlessly, toward the deep, restorative silence of sleep. You are the hearth, and you are the warmth, dissolving into the stillness of the present moment. Sinking into the unmoving center. The quiet deepens now. The gentle currents of the previous moment have softened, dissolving into a stillness that is absolute and complete. You are suspended in a perfect, effortless equilibrium. The surface of your attention, which once held the faint image of ripples or the sound of distant water, is now glass smooth, perfectly reflecting the profound, enveloping dark. Feel the heavy, comforting weight of your body anchoring you deeply into the mattress, into the earth, into the core of your being. This is not a struggle against gravity, but a surrender to its ancient, dependable pull. Every muscle, every fiber, every nerve ending has released its tension, softening into the receptive stillness of the night. Imagine now that you are not merely lying down, but that you are beginning a gentle, slow descent. You are sinking, effortlessly, safely. This is descent not through space, but through layers of awareness, moving past the fleeting thoughts of the day, past the faint echoes of the world outside, down toward a center that is eternally silent and unmoving. The darkness around you is not empty, but thick and protective. It is a velvet absence of light, absorbing the edges of thought and blurring the boundaries of self. This darkness has a texture, perhaps like cool, polished stone or the infinite depth of undisturbed ocean water. It stretches infinitely away, yet simultaneously holds you close, a secure cradle of deep quiet. You are sinking into a well of pure awareness. This well is ancient, dug by time itself, reaching down into the bedrock of existence. The descent is incredibly slow, measured only by the softening of your own resistance. There is no rush, no destination to reach, only the experience of the sinking itself. The pressure of the world is receding above you, growing smaller, dimmer, until it is entirely irrelevant. Feel the sensation of the descent in your chest, a gentle lowering of the center of gravity. Your breath, which has been your companion, your guide, and your rhythm, now begins to soften further. It becomes a subtle, internal whisper, a barely perceptible rise and fall that does not disturb the profound stillness you are entering. You are moving past the layer where sound resides, the faint hum of the night, the distant sigh of the wind, the soft beat of your own heart. All these are muffled now, becoming part of the uniform, encompassing silence. This silence is not the absence of noise, it is the presence of deep, undisturbed peace. It is the sound of the universe resting. The sinking continues, a slow, viscous flow downward. You are dissolving into the dark, becoming indistinguishable from the quiet depth that surrounds you. There is no distinction now between the inner world and the outer world, only the seamless experience of profound rest. In this deep, silent well, the concepts of up and down begin to lose their meaning. There is only depth, a three-dimensional expanse of absolute stillness. You are suspended in the very heart of the unmoving center. This is the place from which all movement originates and to which all movement returns. Allow your mind to contemplate the nature of this center. In the Zen tradition, the mind's surface is often compared to the turbulent waters of a lake, agitated by the winds of thought and emotion. But beneath the churning surface, deep down, the water is always still. It is cool, clear, and perfectly calm. You are sinking into that cool, clear depth now. Every sensation of effort has been released. You are floating within the deep, yet simultaneously held by the dense, protective quiet. The sinking is effortless, guided by an invisible, gentle gravity that pulls you toward your own essential nature. Focus on the space behind your closed eyes. Allow the colors, the faint flickers of light, the remaining visual noise to dim and disappear entirely, absorbed by the surrounding darkness. This visual emptiness is restful, allowing the eyes themselves to sink back into their sockets, heavy and completely relaxed. The breath is now so subtle, it is almost a memory. It requires no effort, no conscious thought. The body breathes itself, a gentle, involuntary rhythm that is merely a faint vibration within the immense stillness. Listen closely for the interval between the breaths. This interval is the heart of the silence. It is vast, empty, and perfect. Sink into the space between the inhale and the exhale. Sink into the pause after the exhale, that moment of complete suspension before the next breath begins its slow, quiet journey. Each pause is a momentary return to the unmoving center. Each pause is profound rest. With every passing moment, you are moving further away from the superficial concerns that cling to the surface of the mind. They are like small leaves floating away on a river, growing smaller and smaller until they vanish around a distant bend. You are safe here, protected by the depth. Imagine the feeling of cool, deep water surrounding you, enveloping you. It is not wet or cold, but perfectly temperate, exactly matching the temperature of your own deepest rest. It supports you completely, requiring nothing of you but surrender. Let the bones of your body feel this deep internal stillness. The spine is long and soft, the shoulders are heavy and melted away, and the hips are rooted and settled. Even the internal organs are resting, their ceaseless work slowing to a gentle, steady rhythm that contributes to the overall peace. We are seeking the unmoving center, the still point of the turning world. This point is always present, regardless of external chaos. Just as the hub of a wheel remains still while the rim spins wildly, your center remains untouched by the agitation of life. You are sinking into the hub now. Let the sinking become the only reality, the feeling of going deeper, softer, quieter. The mind is following the body into this deep, safe well. The thoughts that arise are slow, heavy, and sink quickly to the bottom, where they settle into quiet sediment, no longer able to create ripples. This profound stillness is the definition of rest. It is the state of mind where effort ceases, where striving dissolves, and where the natural, inherent peace of your being takes over. You are allowing yourself to be held, to be supported, to be completely at rest. In this dark, deep well, time itself seems to slow, stretching out into an infinity of quiet moments. The past is irrelevant, the future is unformed, and the only reality is the gentle, protective stillness of the present moment. Imagine a single, perfect, polished black stone resting at the very bottom of this well. This stone represents the core of your awareness, solid, unchanging, eternally tranquil. You are sinking toward this stone, drawn by its absolute stillness. As you draw closer, you realize that you are not just approaching the stone, you are merging with it. You become the quiet, the darkness, the unmoving center. You are the stillness that precedes thought, the silence that embraces sound. The breath is now just a shadow of movement, a subtle whisper at the gates of sleep. Hold your attention gently on this soft, receding breath. Do not try to control it. Simply observe its gentle withdrawal into the deep quiet. It is time to let go of the need to observe, the need to listen, the need to remain aware. The journey is complete. You have reached the unmoving center, the place of effortless rest. There is nothing left to do. There is nothing left to hold. You are safe. You are held. You are sinking deeper, deeper, into the absolute, protective darkness. The quiet is complete. The stillness is absolute. Let the gentle, slow surrender carry you now, entirely and completely, into the most profound and peaceful sleep. You are dissolving into the dark, secure center of your own rest. Sleep now. Rest now. Deeply. Completely. Chapter 10. Complete surrender to the night. The journey is complete. The current of the day, with all its swirling thoughts and choppy expectations, has finally delivered you to this harbor of profound and velvet darkness. There is nothing left to do, nowhere left to go, and nothing left to carry. This moment is the destination. Feel the final, exquisite weight of your body settling. It is a heavy, beautiful anchor dropped into the deepest, softest silt of the ocean floor. The surface beneath you now feels less like a separate boundary and more like an extension of your own being, a supporting earth perfectly contoured to hold your surrendered form. Allow the shoulders to melt, releasing the last vestiges of responsibility they carried throughout the day. Let the arms grow dense, sinking into the silence, their muscular memory finally agreeing to rest. Focus now on the breath, which has become so subtle, so gentle, that it is almost indistinguishable from the pervasive stillness of the night. Listen closely to the faint, soft sigh of air entering and leaving your body. It is the quietest sound in the world, a private rhythm, a continuous, unwavering affirmation of life in this moment of deep repose. The air is cool on the upper lip as it leaves, carrying away a wisp of the day's heat, and it returns, neutral and soft, a gift of renewed stillness. There is no effort required. The body breathes itself, a selfless mechanism working tirelessly to bring you peace. Imagine the lotus flower, which has been open all day, receiving the light and the warmth, performing its duty of magnificent display. As the last sliver of twilight dissolves into the deep indigo hue of midnight, the lotus begins its slow, deliberate closure. Petal by petal, it folds inward, drawing its exquisite vulnerability back into itself, sealing off the inner sanctuary from the outer world. This closing is not a withdrawal of fear, but an act of sacred preservation, a profound turning toward rest. Your mind is mimicking this action. Every scattered thought, every lingering concern, every fragment of memory is a petal folding inward. They are not dismissed or fought. They are simply acknowledged and gently tucked away, understood to be safe until the morning light calls them forth again. Feel the smooth, cool texture of the darkness pressing gently against your closed eyelids. This darkness is not an absence, but a rich, encompassing presence, the original mother, holding you without judgment or demand. As the lotus closes, the boundary between your inner landscape and the vast outer night begins to dissolve. You are no longer merely lying in the darkness, you are becoming of the darkness. The air in the room is the same air within your lungs. The gravity that holds the stars is the same force that holds your limbs heavy and safe upon the surface beneath you. There is a Zen saying, "When the boat docks, let go of the rope." You have docked. The journey of the day is over. There is no need to cling to the rope of yesterday's anxieties or tomorrow's plans. Simply open the hand of the mind and let the rope fall away. The boat is safe. You are safe. Focus on the stillness that underlies all sound. Beyond the faint, rhythmic pulse of your own heart, beyond the distant, muted hum of the sleeping world, there is the foundational silence. This silence is not empty, it is pregnant with peace. It is the sound of everything being exactly as it should be. Let this profound quiet wash over your ears, sinking into the very core of your being, softening the tension held deep within the jaw and behind the eyes. With each outgoing breath, affirm this surrender. I am safe. I am held. I am here now. The weight of your head is significant, yet comforting. Allow the muscles of the neck, which have balanced this weight through hours of attention and action, to completely relinquish their duty. Feel the subtle warmth radiating from the back of your head, sinking into the pillow, a small island of heat in the coolness of the night. This warmth is the residue of your day, now being released into the vast, cool reservoir of rest. The breath now moves into a deeper, slower rhythm, almost a tidal motion. Notice the gentle rise and fall of the abdomen. This movement is the final, soft rocking of the boat before it drifts into the deepest part of the harbor. Feel the movement originate deep within your center, slow and strong, a peaceful wave that carries you further away from the shores of wakefulness. Imagine that the very texture of the air around you is turning to velvet, soft, deep, and utterly enveloping. You are wrapped completely in this soft darkness, protected from all disturbance. The world outside may continue its complex movements, but within this velvet shell, you are untouchable, unwavering, perfectly still. Allow the concept of self to soften. Where does you end and the night begin? The distinction is unnecessary now. You are merging with the environment. The space around you is not separate from the space within you. This is the non-dualistic embrace of the present moment, a seamless unity where there is no watcher and no watched, only the vast, quiet expanse of being. Recall the simple parable of the two monks discussing the wind. One said, "The wind is moving." The other said, "The banner is moving." The master corrected them. It is the mind that is moving. Now, in this profound stillness, allow the mind to cease its movement. The wind is still, the banner is still, and the mind is finally still. There is nothing left to label, nothing left to analyze, nothing left to chase. Let your consciousness drift gently toward the sensation of the heart within your chest. It is a steady, quiet drum, marking the passing of time, yet existing outside of time in this moment of deep presence. Do not try to control its rhythm. Simply feel its persistence, its dedication to your life. The heart beats for you, a silent guardian allowing you the luxury of surrender. If a stray thought, a small, late-night whisper of worry attempts to surface, observe it without attachment. See it as a single, perfectly formed droplet of water falling into a deep, dark pool. It creates the briefest ripple, a momentary disturbance, and then it is instantly absorbed, disappearing back into the vastness of the surface. The pool remains calm, deep, and undisturbed. This is the nature of your mind now, vast, deep, and effortlessly absorbing all transient ripples. We move deeper now into the realm of pure sensation, where thought is unnecessary. Feel the warmth spreading through the soles of your feet, a gentle, tingling relaxation that signals complete release. This warmth is moving slowly, deliberately, up into the calves, melting away the day's accumulated tensions, turning muscle into liquid ease. It climbs into the knees and thighs, making the legs heavy and immobile, anchors of peace. The sensation rises into the hips, the center of your physical being, softening and opening this area to the complete support beneath you. Allow the pelvis to sink deeply, releasing the final resistance, accepting the profound rest that is your birthright. You are perfectly supported. You are safe. The closing of the lotus is complete. The petals are sealed. The inner sanctuary is protected. Within this sanctuary, there is only stillness and the gentle, sustained hum of the night. This hum is the sound of the universe breathing, and you are breathing with it. You are not separate from this cosmic rhythm. Allow the eyelids to become so heavy that they feel like they are weighted with fine, dark sand. The muscles around the eyes, which work incessantly throughout the day to focus and interpret, are now entirely slack. The vision behind the eyes is merging with the outer darkness, creating a seamless, velvety field of rest. Even the inner gaze softens, dissolving the need to look or observe. The tongue rests heavy in the mouth, the jaw is loose, and the space between the teeth is open and effortless. The muscles of the face, often the last stronghold of residual anxiety, are smoothed and released. Imagine the faintest, softest smile resting upon your lips, not a smile of effort, but a smile of deep, internal contentment and acceptance. Everything is fine. The breath is now so subtle that you may only perceive it as a gentle internal wave, rocking you toward the shore of deep sleep. It is the final ferryman, guiding you across the silent river. You are moving beyond the realm of effort, beyond the realm of doing, into the quiet, boundless space of being. There is no past to regret, no future to anticipate. There is only this perfect, complete moment of surrender. Rest in the knowing that you are held by the night, cradled by the stillness, and sustained by the effortless rhythm of life itself. Sink deeper, deeper still. Let the words fade now, becoming merely soft echoes in the vast chamber of your mind. Let the narrative dissolve into the sensation of weight, warmth, and quiet. The mind is a lake at midnight. The surface is perfectly smooth. The moon of awareness reflects clearly in the center. You are safe. You are stillness. Allow the darkness to become your seamless gateway. Rest now, deeply, completely. Surrender. The quiet hum remains, only the quiet hum. Fade.